Arca Bulls, a family. Where you at, family? Where you at? Throw those A's in the chat if you can hear your boy speak. Make sure to throw those A's in the chat right now. What is good, my people? What is good? Very happy to be streaming tonight. Nick, thank you so much for your dono, my dude. Of course, we'll go ahead and get to looking at ticker symbol NVDA, right? Mark Roach, what is up, moderator? Samantha H, how you doing? How you doing? Beso Amy, what's up? What's up? I see you, man. I see you. Who got on my nerves, man? It was actually a group of people just being ridiculous, expressing some I don't know, man. It's just like when you wake up and then you just catch all these negative comments as well, and then you go and see the price action and it was down like 5%. It's like, all right, cool. So now you're gonna just take it off on the influencer, right? Nice. Why don't you go and do your own business? Go and do your own DD, and everything will be cool, right? So, so yeah, not a problem, Mark Roach. We'll go ahead and look at Vorb. And Monster Mike, thank you so much, my dude. That really means a lot, man. Thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, right? But yes, you guys, I love it, man. I just had to express myself. I'm sorry if I was a little too rough around the edges, as I usually don't like to present too much of negative language here in the communities, right? But I was just kind of fed up with it, right? So David Parr saying, hey, bro, love the rant from the other day. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. Oh, my goodness. So Mark Roach saying, F the naysayers. They don't mean a thing. This is what style we bring. That's absolutely it, man. So, guys, I'm not there. There's no way that I can be perfect. There's no way that I can be landing everything, guys. In fact, I'm encouraging my master's students to take a look at a controlled amount of losses, right? So I don't know if it was here in the live that I actually talked about it, or if it was the live from the master students master course. But I did say that I know some seven-figure traders out there who actually have a 25% hit rate, meaning that everything 75% of the time is losses. So that just goes to show, guys, it's not really in the percentage of your wins, right? It's more in the edge of your strategy. So yeah, you guys. So but I mean, I really appreciate how many people were back there supporting me, right, and telling me to ignore the naysayers, right? It's just I promise you, I do try my best, right? So it's just as the thousands of people start to come in, you'll start to see that it's a lot sometimes, right? So a lot of the times I try to stay away from the comments and stuff, but it's hard to do that too. I can't just stay away from the comments because there's always someone in there who's asking a serious question or who wants to be who wants to be supportive, right? So WB, thank you, man. I got you too, my bro. Really appreciate that. What's up, Sebastian Lim? Good to see you here too. Yeah, and but man, it's I'm cooled off right now. I spoke to some very good friends, right, yesterday, and everything is good. But Powerlifter saying, yo, Arca, hope you're well, dude. I am absolutely good, my dude. Appreciate you so much. I know a lot of people caught that video, right? But it's all good. It was really in the intention to get the attention from these haters, right? So if there are really that many haters over there, man, putting out that kind of crap, then I gotta say, man, that for every single hate comment that you got, you just signed a contract for another year of GTII analysis, right? So every single last one, let's go to the end of time. I don't give a shit. So it's gonna continue on just the way that it is. So all good. So what is up, Aiden Davis, man? Good to see you here. Always good to have you here, my bro. Mr. Levis, the challenges will make you even better in the long run, sir. I totally agree. T-Wood saying, Arca, some folks just need to be put in their places sometimes, right? Oh, my goodness, man. I just have to say it like it is sometimes, guys. So Beso Amy saying, family got your back here. I appreciate that so much. So much. All right, so Joe M, what is up? How are you? So I've learned more in 2 weeks watching your videos than I have in 2 years in the market. I got you, my dude. Fist to you as well, my bro. I really, really appreciate that. I really do have a different way of looking at the markets, guys. So I just want to I want to share that with you. You know, I really do. I want to share it with you, not to become this like prophet, but just to help out the communities and retail. You know, aside from looking at the obvious, fundamental catalysts and stuff, but there are other ways to look at the markets too, right? So All good, you guys. So Aiden Davis saying, saw COSM approaching that support area around $3. Hoping there's a green day tomorrow. Can't wait to watch that video later, dude. There, I mean, yeah. I spoke to someone yesterday. I expressed the 301 support, right? But it is a very important area of support. There's no way that I can say that it's just not gonna fail that, right? Because that would be really ignorant in my part, you guys, and that would be me trying to pump a stock, which I'm not. So I'm just telling you that there is a critical support there, of which we face some explosive moves from, right? But there's always a chance of failure, you guys. So please remember that there's only about 4 iterations that actually succeeded to a massive impulsive move to the upside. So the odds are the odds are in our favor, but with very little odds. If I can put that in any other way than I would, right? But that's kind of like the basis of the truth there. Lil AR15 saying, Arca, you are great on the charts. Keep going, man. Thank you so much, my bro. I really do try. So Stick Vicious saying, COSM, great vid battle. Thank you so much, my battle. I really appreciate you. And Charlie Mack, what's up, man? Tell me you weren't at your mom and dad's when you went off. No, I wasn't. Although my mom and dad probably would have been looking at me like, who did what? And also, I wouldn't do that at their house, right? So I was in the comfort of my own studio here, and my son was also, I left him on purpose in the kitchen, asleep in his in his nap area. So I put him there with my daughter, and I said, hey, I just need you to watch him for a bit. And I came in here and I blew all that steam off, right? So, as I was being kind of loud in the microphones, I just needed some time to kind of let that out, right? So yeah, you guys, I really appreciate everybody for coming by. Please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, right? So Mark Roach saying, we love you, Arca. Thank you, bro. I love you too, man. I love everybody here. So Fern5, good to see you, man. Good to see you here in the chat. So yeah, you guys, so of course, just like always, guys, we're going to be looking at the broader markets first, right? Just get the get the obvious stuff out of the way, and then go into the more challenging things, right? So we're going to include NVIDIA, or how TMI, the masked investor, says. He calls it the NVIDIA. I'm not sure if it's just particular to him, but it's funny that he calls it NVIDIA. I've said it once or twice before, right? So soundproof room next. Actually, there's a lot of sound treatment here in the studio, but it's just the door. Absolutely the door. You know how these doors nowadays in the newer houses, they're a little they're hollow, so probably replacing it with a whole wooden door wouldn't be a bad idea, right? So, Aiden Davis saying, low-key going to watch the video again later just to hear that powerful voice. My dude, some people told me that they actually watched it 2 or 3 times. I didn't rehearse any of that either. That's why I kind of stuttered a lot, kind of like how I do here in the, well, I mean, I stutter all the time, right? Because that's kind of the beauty of not having not having pre-edited videos. They're just going right. They're starting right where they are, and they're ending however they end, right? So that's part of the magic of looking at the tickers the way I do, right? It's the initial response, right? So what is the chart telling me right away? That's kind of like what I like to do. But yeah, you guys, so without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into the SPY and see what it's got for us, right? We want to know exactly what the charts could be doing for tomorrow, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this right now. So SPY ticker on the buy daily chart is where we've been kind of lingering around, right? So it's been pretty good, and pretty the time frame, I mean, it's been pretty good at kind of signaling what the potentials are for the upside, right? So as we were already looking at these zones as likely resistance levels, right? So I love that we actually did reach that level, and the setup right now looks a little bearish, but I mean, it looks like we're kind of bouncing and trying to validate this support as a valid area of support, right? So very critical level we bounced out of here, right? So the overall target we were looking for was a 417, of which we've already gotten about almost 412 here. So it's already getting pretty close. Upon the validation of this support, we're going to validate this, of course, right? So upon the validation of this 406.82 as a support, then very likely we can actually continue onwards here to test the area. I would say between maybe, let me see here. actually, I would have to favor the resistance level about 415 to 417, right around there, guys. So this would be that next zone to kind of combat. Very, very, very likely we could face a resistance touch here just to come back down and validate this area of support again, 408.91. Okay, so as usually that's kind of what happens within these broadening descending wedges, right? So the usual take profit right at the genesis of the formation itself, then you know, kind of a sell-off here, and then we would actually continue onwards and upwards if the economy, if the sentiment so feels that to be the case, right? So we'll continue validating here, you guys, but I think I do honestly feel that there could be some type of accumulation period here before we can knock out that 417 or 415 to 417, right? So let's just try to look at our momentum right now on the 30-minute, see what it's got, right? So we have an immediate short-term support coming up, which is very indicative of what we're saying, right? So trying to find that little bounce area that we're in right now. So let's continue to the buy hourly and see what it's got. Buy hourly time frame RSI. It's suggesting you know, I don't like these little pivots, right? But I have to kind of put this one into the picture here because there is it's in the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. So right in here, this can actually pull us to the upside. The only thing is that it could be consolidation too, because we're bouncing within that gravitational zone, or we're both of those gravitational zones, right? So we can definitely expect a trade sideways. The last thing I would want to see is actually facing the resistance from this 14-day, okay, which could I'm actually a little uninformed as to what macroeconomic catalysts would be coming up. Or what reports are coming up soon. So this is kind of indicating some type of weakness, but as the 6-hour time frame is also suggesting a downside too. 12-hour time frame is crossing below that 14-day simple moving average, but it is starting to kind of correct though. So it is also telling us that it's a limited downside, right? So daily time frame also in that like curvature here, there is limited downside again within this area, guys. I'm still looking at, I mean, if we're gonna wick down, it would be likely to today's lows, 406.06, right? But the main area to kind of look out for and to close above, I would say a minimum daily candle or 8-hour at very minimum actually. 406.73 to 408.84. Okay, so and as the buy daily comes in, you can definitely start to see that the pivots to the downside are not so significant, right? So immediate immediate support here from the 3-day at that 14-day simple, which could be indicative. Let's see, in 15 hours and 50 minutes, very likely this 3-day iteration would close tomorrow. So closing this 3-day iteration above the target of the opening candle from the prior 3-day iteration, 404.04, with that 40404, right? So that would leave us with a pretty good stance here and a pretty good bullish statement from the SPY. So upon that closure above that 404, then we would we would actually see the results of this RSI pivoted towards the upside based on a higher close here. So that would be pretty good, right? So not a bad thing here. All right, so yeah, you guys, so that's kind of what I'm looking for the SPY. Now, I assume that NVIDIA could be around that same kind of trajectory as well, right? So as you can see here, same kind of upside move here, same broadening descending wedge, and that's usually happens like that, you guys, because of you know, these mega caps. They kind of stick together. They do run on sympathy to the broader markets, right? So MASN up 50% today from, damn, that is Destiny. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's a huge up run. I'm wondering myself if it would actually continue. We do, I mean, this is the weekly time frame. If a weekly time frame formation would realize, then I would probably say it would be, yeah, it would probably be the inverse herpy-derpy over here, right? So we have an inverse herd and shoulders, right? So we have the shoulder here, head, and the shoulder right over here as well, right? So if we were to see the neckline based on this very, very low hit rate, non-statistical and non-mathematical formation, then let me actually just try to find the neckline here and see how I can make this work, right? So if we're already at that take profit zone, then we could very likely start to face some type of some type of a pullback soon, right? So let's go ahead and take a trend line from this top side here all the way to the bottom side of the head, right? And then we can actually apply it to the top side of our I think I did it once before, but let's just go ahead and see if I can. Okay, so this is suggesting actually a continuation to the upside, potentially about 315.51. So another thing is that I'm not sure if there's several ways to connect the neckline here, right? But connecting the neckline from the previous iteration took us to pretty much where we are now, and we're facing that pullback already. But we also saw that pullback based on these targets here, and actually these targets here were set from when we were down here, right? So it's meeting them perfectly right at the 2.618, telling us that we are definitely following some market geometry here. And you want the SPY under 400, Bruno Bars? That would be interesting, man. That would be quite the interesting play. But don't doubt it, man. It actually, I do see some weakness, which I actually apologize to everybody saying that I don't know what fundamental catalysts could be coming in, right? I usually have that calendar in play, but Arca should stop worrying about the freaking haters over there and start getting the damn job done, right? So, I just realized right now that I couldn't. Stay vicious. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that donation. Saying at Monster Mike started the party. Let's do this. Thank you, my brother. Really appreciate that. My family appreciates you too, very greatly. All you guys. Thank you. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and continue on here. I want to validate the potential downside thesis here. So already the weekly time frame is showing us that we could potentially find some support here, which could be indicative of touching down back to the 1.272 or just slightly above it at about the 262.88. But please remember, this is weekly, right? So let's kind of minimize the time frames here. Go down to a shorter term and see what that can do for us. So there's already a very, very slight weakness here on the 30-minute RSI. In fact, I'm going to show you guys one more tool that I actually use, and it's going to be the DMI indicator. I'll show you guys a directional directional movement index, right? So my goodness, man, I can't really talk right now. So you can already see on the bi-hourly the start of this chop zone, right? So if we can actually combat this or actually beat it, here's a little something to tell you. This could very likely fail. Okay, so some people are looking at this like we have a bounce here, we potentially bounce from there, resistance right here from this very line, right? So they're thinking that this could be it right here. In fact, no, there's failure, resistance touch here. This is very likely to continue on to the downside. Okay, so let me just continue validating though, okay, because the upside here could be very limited. If we do get a wick to the upside, very likely we can touch on the very bottom side of this gap here, 273.29 to about 270.79, very likely to 270.79 before facing resistance. That 270.79 could be in line with that 14-day simple moving average. We are also in the gravitational zone of the bi-hourly RSI in the bear strength percentile. So if we face that upside, very likely to find resistance from the gravitational zone of the bear weakness and that 14-day simple and the gap resistance here. So that's kind of like a momentum play, to short here, right? So you would play a short scalp on these type of plays. So if you're looking at a position short here, you can get short the market. Let's see, that would be it's not bad either. That's actually a pretty significant play regarding the value right now, $267. But so you would get short 270.89, potential cover at about 258.32 with a bottom side, maybe runners at about 252.93. So this actually does okay. So Bruno Barr saying jobless claims and Fed Bullard speaks tomorrow. That is not good. Okay, so Fed Bullard is actually a bear. So he is probably the reason why I'm seeing weakness in the broader markets right now. So, and the U.S. employment report on Friday. Holy goodness. Okay, so yeah, if the jobs comes in at a positive rate, that's not going to be good for the markets. We want. Unfortunately, we have to say it like this, right? But it's not my control. It's really what everybody else is talking about, right? But we really, if we want the markets to continue to the upside, we really need jobs to be needed. We need people without jobs Oh God, it's so terrible. All right, you guys. So that's the short-term play here. Okay, so that's literally within the first. I'm talking about the intraday trade here. Okay, so very likely could face some type of downside here. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and see the 6-hour time frame and see what it's got as well. Okay, so come on, if we can load that. There we go. So yeah, I don't really like these pivots, you guys. This one here, and this is already indicative of a failure of this pivot. So as it's kind of typical, right? Just like this, you have a pivot here, another pivot here, downside, right? Just like those. So it looks like we're actually prepping for that continuation to the downside. 12-hour time frame also showing us its true colors, right? Definitely a nosedive here. We're approaching that gravitational zone, very likely to find the downside here. But please remember, NVIDIA very likely to make an upside to about 271. The best case scenario and least likely scenario, 273.19, would be an area of resistance before falling into the zone of about 258.62. I may be wrong, but I may be not. You know, whatever. Just go ahead and keep an eye on. Yeah, guys, just keep an eye on the markets here. Okay, the last thing you want to do is just get long on something when you're supposed to probably get short, right? So all right, you guys, so yeah, let's go ahead and continue on the analysis here. That was it for ticker symbol NVIDIA. Very cool times here. Okay, you guys, so does it sound like my volume is minimizing, or am I still good in volume, guys? Are you still hearing me clear? I want to know that you can still hear me very clear right now. Okay, chat, go ahead and dive in, let me know. Does Arca sound clean? Does he sound like it's the volume is dropping, or what is the case here, right? So yeah, you guys. All right. So let's see. Perfect. Clear. Volume sounds just fine. Okay, perfect, you guys. Thank you so much for that. I was wondering why, actually, I think it may have been my personal setup here, as like, I'm going to bring this into the picture right now. So just so you can see what I'm monitoring, right? So this is actually a frequency spectrum that I that I use, right? So FabFilter Pro Q2, this is actually something that I use to control the frequencies that are very strong in my voice, and I enhance the ones that are not. So this is why you get to hear me a little differently than other influencers, right? But I'm using another mic right now, so I have to try to pull out all the tricks to the trade to get it to sound very, very good, right? So that's why I'm asking, guys. I'm just asking because I am pulling some tricks here, some serious trickery for the community. All right, so everything good. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. Arca says T-Wood, my dude. Definitely no more yelling right now. Okay, we'll keep that down to a minimum. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next ticker, you guys, and that's going to be ticker symbol VORB. And I did get a couple requests just real quick before we start this ticker. I did get a couple requests regarding that Seiko ticker. So, chat, would you be able to let me know why are people talking about this ticker so much? Mark Roach saying Arca has a beautiful voice. My dude, you probably do too. I'm gonna hit you up so we can take our kids to the park, my bro. All right, so as that is definitely needed. I almost have my son back to schedule, right? So now he's going to sleep at 2 in the morning opposed to 4:30 in the morning. Hopefully I can get him to 1:30 by coming Monday. All right, so yeah, my dude, we'll go ahead and chill for a bit. But yeah, please, guys, let me know what's going. If you are familiar with that ticker that I'm speaking of, I'm speaking of that ticker Seiko, SECO. What's going down with that? Why is that a thing, right? Because I've already gotten, I think, like 4 or 5 requests, which is kind of telling us that it would be, probably a popular play soon, right? So. Yeah. Arca should have a radio talk show. We would all listen. Aiden Davis saying that would be lit. I think, I think that'd be pretty cool, right? So if we had you're not the first person to say that I have this radio voice. I do not mean to sound like a radio co-host or anything. I'm just really talking to you like I would in person, right? So if you were to know me in person, then you know that I just, I always never lack something to say. To put it to you in simple terms. Oh my goodness, I always have something to say, guys. But Always, I don't want to be that dad that just talks too much either, right? So we'll take it off on the live chats. We'll say everything we need to say for the day right in here live for all of the community, right? Make sure to hit that like button, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And also remember, guys, there's still a few seats left available for that ArcMasters trading course. Refer to the links in the description below. You'll find my email there, and we'll get you enrolled, all right? So go ahead and take care of that whenever you can, all right? So Stickfish is saying that I sound like Casey. Is that Kasem or Kasem? That's another radio host, right? So in person, Arca sounds like Pee Wee Herman. Dude, isn't he a pedo? Never compare me to him again. Chris A saying Seiko low float, huge jump to $1.80 yesterday, now back to 87. Okay, so you're trying to see if we can actually face a bounce from that ticker Seiko, right? So. I mean, 180 to 87, bro. That's literally 97% of what it gained. Right? I mean, we'll look at it. So it's coming up. Samantha H saying Casey was the best. All right. So do I sound like him? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume his gender. As the kids were saying, are you assuming my gender? I think what was that, like 6 years ago or something? I found that to be so ridiculous. I'm like, am I assume what? I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about. Aiden Davis, I know you know what I'm talking about. What were they talking about, bro? I'm not trying to assume nobody's freaking gender here. All right. But I'm also just pulling your legs, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna pull up the directional moving index right here, guys, so I can show you a new perspective in some tool. I used to use this in Twitter a lot, the ADX with the DMIs, right? So I'll explain it in just a bit. No, he was on the radio for decades. Wow. Okay. You know who I remember who used to be on the radio a lot? It was actually I forgot his name, but it was for Coast to Coast. Do you guys remember that? Please tell me you remember Coast to Coast if you were here in Cali. All right, so I used to listen to that with my parents all the time, right? So very cool stuff. It was on for a long time. So Aiden saying, wait, what was the question again? The question was if you remember when kids were saying, are you assuming my gender? I think that was a thing, and I was like, am I assuming what? I would be all confused within that, right? So I don't know. I do sound like him. Okay, all right. I like it. Bruno Barr saying Art Bell. Yes, Art Bell was the one. It was for Coast to Coast, man. Oh, the OGs remember. Oh my goodness, dude. So yeah, you guys. So Seiko. Okay, so Chris A is saying ticker symbol Seiko has 90 million in volume just yesterday, 5.2 today. Wow. Okay, so yeah, let me go ahead and actually get moving, because I am very curious over this ticker here, right? So ticker symbol VORB, VORB. That's every kid my age every day saying, Aiden, you see, guys? You see what I mean? Guys, I'm not assuming nobody's gender. I really don't care. Everybody is a person to me, okay? And that's all I care about. I just care. That's all I care about. So T-Wood saying, kids called me Menudo in grade school. Look just like, oh, you're talking about the group Menudo. They sang in only Spanish. T-Wood, are you not white? Your like handle just makes me feel like you're a white dude. Menudo, I remember them to speak only Spanish. I think they were a very popular group in the 70s or something like that, right? Mark Roach saying ATNF was a real poop show today. I'm not familiar with that ticker, but I did hear some negative things coming out of that. And Destiny, if you're still in here, I hope that you saw that AMC actually ended up making that bounce that we were talking about, right? So, yeah, that's what I was just trying to tell you. Like, no, do not get rid of that so you can buy more AMC or more APE, right? Because APE is likely to come back down and AMC is likely to pop up. That's just usually the ebb and flow, guys. It kind of goes like that. It's just a huge discount. There's no way it's going to last there for too long. Although, you know, we'll just keep an eye on it no matter what. Now, saying Lil AR-15, somebody actually did ask me if they were going to do puts on NVIDIA, right? So your, if you chose some pretty good put options, just make sure that you have enough delta, make sure that you have enough gamma in the event where you do run in the money. So, if you do probably the highest risk options, of course, are going to be the ones closest to the expiry, right? So, but also they're going to be the ones to give you the biggest return as well, right? So that's AI or BBAI ever coming back? My dude, that was a play that was already called and already made that upside, right? So now I don't know about AI, but I know BBAI did make that upside move that we were looking for. So hopefully some of the retail here took advantage of that, because we did notice that it was going to make a move to the upside 2 days prior to that. So there was enough time for preparation for that, and I think actually the targets went just slightly above my target. So, but then it capitulated like crazy. So then it fell, right? So it literally just went to the target and it was like, I'm done. The legendary Ricky Martin was in, when he was very young, when he was a kid, right? Yeah. Ricky Martin. Anyway, you guys, so with enough gamma and good delta, I guess you wouldn't even have to worry about your theta, because you're just gonna, it's like this would just be for a day play, right? So you can wait for the price action to maybe reach that area of about 270, right around there. You can accumulate that. You can get long that put, right, and bet the downside here. So up, I would say start to maybe liquidate or get rid of your position at around 258.52, right? So the thing is that you need to also make sure that you have a good implied volatility, and make sure that there's also a good amount of open interest in that option that you want to trade. Okay, so as you want to make sure that it does have people wanting to buy it. Okay, also when you're looking at your options, make sure to look at the options with a smaller spread. So if people, what I mean by smaller spread is like you don't want to start getting long a put when it says the spread is like 270 to like 254. Like, don't do that. Okay, the tighter the spread, the better the option. Okay, so keep an eye on that too. All right, you guys. So yeah, let me just go ahead and just finish that off. That was regarding the question that I got earlier today. So saying calls or puts on Nvidia. Well, I would honestly look at maybe puts, right? So very likely going to continue to the downside after the morning volatility. So this could be probably an entire day's play and then close at this position here. Remember, guys, just practice risk management. Know the reason why you're going in the first place, and know the plan and stick to it no matter what, right, you guys? So that's a kind of a good way to look at your strats. Okay, so already on the daily time frame, yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with this ticker symbol VORB, and that's going to be 9:28 p.m. right? So yeah, let's go ahead and get it started now, you guys. So VORB, very interesting setup right now. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying this is because we have I guess I can give you some little candle analysis here, right? Huge bullish engulfing right on the daily time frame here, right? So massive indecision doji right down here, that spinning top, and then it just led into this it could I wish for the body to be more in the center, right, to be spinning top, right? But this is a very, very large confirmation candle, right? So if you're looking at candle analysis, it's just whatever. But we are seeing, I mean, a massive amount of volatility here. We're critically expanded, and it looks like a contraction phase could start fairly soon. In fact, the momentum oscillator looks like it's already starting to potentially make this curve to the upside. Okay, another thing that we should notice on the DMI indicator, right? So this is the DMI indicator. So this shows you what the bear trend is and what the bull's trend is, right? So now what gives you the strength of whatever trend is the ADX. The ADX dotted white line represents the strength of whatever trend. So whenever you're above the 25 percentile of the ADX, it's very likely that the trend that's currently the strongest is the one that's leading, right? So it's interesting right now that we're starting to minimize the strength of the trend, while the bears are starting to minimize too. So it looks like bulls may start to gain control on the daily. Okay, so this is also indicative of a potential upside soon. All right, so that's another thing to kind of take a look at, right? So now if we are looking at price action, I mean, clearly you can see the tiny little candles everywhere, right? And you see the volatility increasing like crazy here. It just like it was here. It was literally showing as soon as we started getting those massive candles, we maxed out at volatility, and now a contraction phase could be starting, which means that we could be in a mean reversion play. All right, so let's just go ahead and pull up my algorithm. This is actually something that I just put together. This is the reversion variant, and this could show us what that mean target could be. So if we are looking at a mean here on the daily, it could be about 60 cents, and that would be pretty massive for this ticker to do. Seeing for a fact, right now, I'm talking, this is the most, historically speaking, this is the most it's ever expanded. So, I mean, you can see right here that it has never expanded this much ever. Right, so every single red bar that you're noticing right here is actually a daily read being at critical volatility, meaning 97% and above or 100%. And there isn't any clear sign that it's starting to contract. In fact, it actually went even higher here. And I'll zoom in just so you can see like what I'm talking about. Here, you can see that we started contracting here, but then it actually expanded again, and both the moving average and the volatility component are 100% maxed out here. Okay, so this is starting to present the likelihood of a contraction phase soon, right? So as this thing's, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that very likely a floor is in. All right, so just to be short here, I don't want to continue beating a dead horse over here, right? So. It's very likely a bottom has been found and an upside move could be fairly soon. So let's just look at the shorter time frames as we could likely see it set up there. Okay, so yeah, critical volatility. So let me look at the 12-hour. All right, 12 hours starting to contract. The upside pivot started. Okay, that's already good. The mean on the 12 hours is suggesting 37 cents from 22. And now go ahead and notice here that the bears are on the downside here, and the trend is starting to minimize for the bears as well. Okay, so now the bulls look like they're starting to take control. As soon as we do get that green cross above the red, then and the ADX starts to pitch to the upside alongside an upside pivot with the contraction phase, guys, that's a powerful setup. VORB could be setting up something very interesting. 8-hour time frame. Also starting to contract here. It also has the upside pivot, but please remember that this doesn't mean that it's just going to go up. Look at this over here, okay? So just so you can know that sometimes it does kind of take a while for it to make a move, but I mean, the thing is that even in these situations, we didn't have critical volatility like we do now. Still within the 90 percentile, very good, but just it wasn't like this. Right, so this is already suggesting an upside as well. So 6-hour time frame, let's see, 6-hour time frame starting to contract, and we've already reached the mean here, and we already have that signal fire to the upside. But please notice that this is barely starting that upside, and this is barely starting to contract. So very likely this can continue onwards and upwards to maybe 45 cents here in the 6-hour time frame. So this is all looking very, very aggressive. Notice the buy hourly suggesting a continuation to the upside almost immediately, and it's right now finding support. We do have a sell signal here, but I do not think that this could be. Oh, actually, we do have the trend kind of. There is a little bit of a downside to be faced, but buy hourly is a short-term time frame. There could be a loading zone between the area of about 20 cents and about 21. All right, so that's potential there too. Okay, so VORB, guys, there's something up here. Let me see the buy daily. Buy daily still needs a little more of setup time here. So everything is laying within the shorter time frame, guys, and within the shorter time frame, this is likely to continue on to the upside by maybe mid session to the end of session tomorrow. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I just want to express that the odds here are kind of leaning towards the bulls, right? So let me just take a look at the RSI here in the immediate short term. So yeah, the short term is literally saying what we just talked about, a downside in the immediate short, right? So let's take a look at the next potential. Okay, so 20 cents on the 30-minute could be that support area. Now let's see the buy hourly. Buy hourly could be. Let me see. Let me find that sweet spot in here. Yeah, 20 cents as well on the buy hourly. Very, very curious. It could also wick down to 18. Let's do the 6 hour. Let me see the sweet spot in this. Okay, so the this one could also be suggesting maybe around 19 cents, but 19 to 20 cents seems to be the rhyming number here, you guys. And very, very curious to see this here on the 12-hour, which could actually be the reason why we would find support at that 20 cent, is that we do have a gap right here located right at that 1910, right? So this would be essentially that retouch or that retest, right? So 1910 could be the lowest area before a continuation to the upside, if sentiment so feels to kind of fill the gap again. No, I know it's already filled. I get it. I'm just saying that if we need to come back down to the bottom side of that gap, then so be it, right? But yeah, it's the likelihood of finding the support from the 1910 would be a higher probability. Right, you guys. So yeah, now upside targets, guys. Remember that I am kind of looking at I think it was the 8-hour that kind of had that better setup. Let me see. Let me just zoom out a little bit and get rid of. Wow, damn. The RSI is already pivoted towards the upside. Okay, so bi-hourly downside. All right, so yeah, guys, it's going to be a short amount of time to get long this ticker. Potentially after the morning volatility. This could present another play. And guys, if you trade power hour, just be careful when you're trading there, right? So the algorithms kind of change within that time, and they start to. It's just different at that time. Okay, so. But what I am saying here is that it's very likely to make that upside continuation after the mid-session. Okay, so there is time to kind of get long this, literally from for all the way up to the bi-hourly, which could be indicative of about a 10 a.m. entry or 9:30 a.m. entry around there. Yeah, be careful. So there is money to be made on VORB. Just be careful. Absolutely agreed with you, Casey. All right, so definitely keep this in mind, guys. But the upside targets are the shorter term target would probably be at the mean 36 cents if it can actually do that in an 8-hour period, right? So meaning that it could be the following day. So Friday, the 36 cent could be reached. But I mean, also notice this massive candle today, right? So from the 8-hour here, this is huge. So it does have the thrust to potentially reach past the 36 cent zone. So take a fib, right? Take a fib retracement from the swing high to the swing low of the day. And the 36 cent zone is literally at the 1.618 golden mean. So it's very curious that it's already there too. And I mean perfectly at it, right? So yeah, the upper targets, the ones that I was talking to you about, 60 cents, is also sharing confluence here with the 3.272 and the 3.618. So it is in a sense following geometrics very nicely. Okay, so those would be my objectives here. All right, so be careful with ticker symbol VORB, guys, but very, very cool play. It's looking like it does have some power, and it also looks like it has some power for the longer term too. So short-term upsides, very likely resistance touches within these zones right here, right? Come all the way back down to our current highs, 22.82, or even back down to that 19 to 20 cent area of reaccumulation before another upside move based on the 3-day and bi-daily volatility versus momentum paired with the ADX, right? So it's looking pretty good, guys. It's looking not bad at all. Keep that one on your lists. I love it. Thank you, Mark, for sharing this with the community. Mark has some good suggestions sometimes, guys. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next ticker, guys, and that's going to be ticker symbol FRGT. And this was another request. I'm just not sure what happened, right? So Steven saying BBAI, hey Arca, I believe we actually covered BBAI on the 3rd. After the huge spike the next morning, it completely capitulated. Oh, did it? Yeah. So, dude, send me, Steven, send me a message on Discord so I can remember. Man, actually, yeah, just do it there. I have a lot of messages there, by the way. Oh, what the hell happened? Oh, there's a split on FRGT. No way. Oh my goodness. Oh, basically saying you're in that wreck. Which one was it? BBAI? Oh my goodness. So let's find out. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and take a look at that. You guys send me that message. We'll look at what is happening within that. Okay. So I need to kind of readjust this chart a little bit here, and I think it could be like, I think it was like this, right? Man, I hate it when things split and it just leaves everything just all messed up. And this could be like this here, potentially. And it could also not be on the 3-day, very likely on the daily, as that's typically where I tend to look at things. Or even the bi-daily. Let's see. Okay, so... Man, all right, so if we're still... Okay, so FRGT, if we're still following the play... 1, 2, test of the resistance. 3, capitulation. Fake out, didn't actually touch. Right, so we have test number 4 and fail. Okay, so this is getting ready, actually, for a number 5 true breakout. So that's not bad. And let's see. Yeah, if we're actually preparing for that breakout, then the take profit for this would be, of course, at the genesis of the formation, which actually this would be, come on, get the trend line. It would be like this, and then it would be like that, right? So yeah, this would essentially be the take profit, right? 36.22, but we have to validate all this stuff, right? So let's continue on. Destiny saying I bought in at 382. Damn it. All right, so yeah, let's see what it's got. Okay, because huge volume is coming in right now for the bulls, right? So this is a bi-daily iteration. So let me look at the daily and see what it's got. So the daily here with a damn 16.7 million, 1.1 million on that previous candle, 2 million on that previous one, 1 million on the previous. Yeah, so the bulls are actually trying something here. Okay, so let's get our tools up and see what we have in store. Okay, so the daily is already suggesting an upside. We're definitely increasing in volatility now. Back to expansion. We crossed above the moving average, so this is a good sign. Alongside the stochastics oscillator pitch to the upside. Please mind that both of the 3-day exponential and the 14-day simple are in the bullish control zone now. Okay, so that's indicative of a continuation to the upside even still. So let me pull up the 30-minute immediate short term and see what else we have in line with this. Okay, so Destiny and who was it? Steven, do not forget to send me a message. Okay, I want to look at it with you guys. So yeah, so a 30-minute is suggesting a little bit of resistance here found in the RSI, right? But I wonder if that's actually just, it could be indicative of more consolidation, right? So let me just continue on here. And yeah, it doesn't look as bad as HLBZ for sure. Okay, so this is looking not bad. The bi-hourly looks, oh man, if this, oh my goodness. Oh, hold on, there's a lot of mixed signals here. Okay, you guys, hold on. Let me look at that hourly again, because if this thing is actually forming a bearish formation here, then 1, 2, freaking hell. Okay, hold on just a sec, you guys. This is kind of a disaster. This is a mess. Okay, and I'm wondering if this mess is made, well, obviously because of the whole split and all that good stuff, right? So let me just put some discretion into this, right? Some other types of magic, right? So immediate short term, could it be 30-minute? Let me see. The shorter the time frame, the less likely these formations play out, right? But still, this is yeah, it is the 30-minute. Okay, so this is what we're looking at here is a broadening ascending wedge. And this is already test number 1, 2, we have 3. It failed it in test number 4. Okay, so usually an invalidation could start happening at test number 4 if this is being traded by, by people who know the play, right? So test number 4 and 5 would start to indicate that the bulls may be gaining control, right? Because usually after test number 3, that's the biggest capitulation time, right? So this was not correct for it to face that capitulation, but still. So let's continue validating here. Okay, so know for a fact that there's already a little bit of a risk in this play. Okay, so let me look at the bi-hourly RSI. So yeah, we already saw that. So 6-hour RSI suggesting rejection right now. Okay, let's continue getting these puzzles together. Okay, so the 12-hour time frame upside pivot with an upside 14-day simple, very likely to cross it too, and the daily with an upside, which we saw. Okay, all right, so guys, there is some downside to be faced first, right? And that downside is very, very limited. In fact, we can actually pull up a target right now. So let me go to the hourly time frame and start to look at that, right? Because this could be the next potential loading zone for this, and very, very likely for it to touch a range. Okay, so it could be right around. I'm looking at the wick low of this range here, and I'm looking at the opening of this candle here. I'm also looking at the resistance of this candle here. Okay, so right, just like this here is kind of like the range that I'm looking at. The closing of the candle here, the wick low of that, wick low of this. So very likely for us to touch about 212 before a bounce. And the reason why I'm telling you before a bounce is because if you start to jump into the 12-hour time frame and pull up your momentum, you will actually notice that you have that upside pivot, right, with almost nothing kind of blocking it. But then jumping into the daily, you have that 14-day simple below you with an upside pivot. Look at the buy daily. The buy daily is actually crossing the 14-day simple with an upside pivot. And then if we start to look at our other tools, then you'll start to see what could be happening here, right? So upside pivot has been kind of realized here on the buy daily iteration with contraction starting, right? So in 15 hours and 12 minutes, this buy daily candle would close. Now, here's another potential downside factor, right? This is a shooting star on a buy daily. We definitely don't want to close that as a shooting star. So if we could actually, within the time frame that this candle is open, we can actually start getting that upside after a very short-term, immediate short-term downside. This thing could actually, it would have the potential to close. Let's see. I may actually have to see this. Yeah, it would actually, there is a potential of this closing at 251 tomorrow. The buy daily iteration, right? So 251 is very significant too. So let me just draw that 251 area, right? Just like this one's challenging, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so in fact, I mean, just all these, everything in the trade is challenging. So wick low to this, right? The closing of this candle very close to the closing of this. I'm sorry, to the opening of this one here. We have resistance, 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 right? We have that closing of this candle here. We have the closing of this one here as well. So yeah, there is kind of a lot in relevance to this resistance touch. Okay, so if we do get that buy daily closure at this target or near it, that would be a very, very good sign for a continuation to the upside. Okay, so this is a little bit of a shaky play, but it is suggesting some upsides. This as well. Look, the 3-day iteration would essentially close, starting to contract with an upside pivot here. Okay, so on the stochastics, right? So I'm not saying like powerful here, but it would definitely take us to around 329 on the 3-day period, 337, sorry, to that 3-day period. So if we're looking at 337, what could that be on the daily fib, right? So let's look at the fibs real quick and see what that can look like. So 337 is what we said for the 3-day range, right? So let's see what 337 looks like. So right upside of the 1.618, of course. Right, so it would be 337 right there, literally just slightly above the 1.618. So it is curious that it's taking us, or I'm already kind of guessing the golden mean. Also, look at this resistance right up here at 336, literally. So yeah, I could see this in a few days reaching 336 and then facing a type of pullback to come down to validate our current highs of about 279. But please don't dismiss the fact that this was actually kind of difficult for me to see, right? So this is not an obvious play. All right, so just know that, okay, you guys. So now you know the play. All right, so let's just go ahead and finish off that ticker right there. Let me go back to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Right, so Indra H, good to see you in here, right? Chart Whisperer once again. I'm not always right, you guys, but I try my best, right? So Christopher Cook saying, Arca, out of curiosity, what happened to the bear versus bulls indicator you used to present as a comparative percentage? Is that something you still use? Yeah, I do. You're talking about the DBSI. Yeah, I do. In fact, I'm going to start putting this back up soon, right? So let me, I was just trying to promote the course material first, right? I don't want to trying to ask like for a bunch of money from a bunch of different ways, right? So I have to kind of choose that. So yeah, you're talking about the DBSI indicator here. So this one. So see, I mean, if you're curious about FRGT, 90% bull strength, 10% bears. Literally validating what we're feeling for a massive upside here, right? So yeah, my dude, it's looking very good. DBSI is suggesting strength to the bulls. So thank you for asking, by the way. But yeah, I still use these strategies all the time, except that right when I'm promoting like the master's course and stuff, I wouldn't promote this too. So what I do is actually I stay away from the indicators while I stay away from promoting it to you guys as well. Right, so in that case, then I'm limited to the other tools that I have as well. These indicators kind of make it a little too easy, right? But that's not always good to kind of rely on, right? Because my handle says, part discretionary, mostly systematic for a reason, is because I do need my discretion to kind of validate as well. Not always the data. I do trust the data more than I do discretion, but I do sometimes need to validate it for myself and see the play for myself in order for me to convince myself that there is a reason to be long or short. Right? I hope that makes sense to you guys, right? So, yeah, you guys. So, yeah, let's finish off that ticker symbol FRGT now and continue on the analysis. We'll touch bases, guys. We'll touch bases on FRGT once we do get that rejection at about 337, right? So we do get that rejection. We come back here. This would be the breakout prep upon test number 5, right? So upon test number 5, then there could be a pretty strong move there. Likely to be in the range of about 532 to about 563 before a pullback, and that would then start testing the 331 1.618 and the newly converted resistance into support before a continuation to the upside. So this is the aggressive trader would start to try to get long here despite the pullback that you can actually see here, and I'm talking about aggressive swing trader, right? So in my personal whatever, I'm a breakout trader myself, so in my strategy I would wait for the breakout to succeed the upside and then come back, and then upon validation here I would get long the stock and then start trading it, right? So that's just kind of the way I do things. It does not have to be like the way that you do things. Just everybody practices their own ways, right, you guys? So yeah, now officially let's go ahead and touch down on the ticker symbol SECO. All right, so let me just make a note here that we are in fact starting it, and let's move along. Okay, so already I can see in the weekly time frame that we are in a broadening descending wedge, right? So you guys know this formation here is super typical because of all the anxiety in the markets, right? So very likely for it to have found this type of, could it be? Let me see. Oh, actually, yes. Very likely found that resistance touch today from that. Okay, so let's continue connecting our dots here and see what we have, right? So sometimes, guys, you have to look at your support touches versus your resistance touches. So like, for example, like this, right? Support, you have a support here and support here as well, right? So now the failure, and then you have your resistance, right? So then you bounce and then resistance and you come back, right? So that's kind of how I'm able to see things, right? So hopefully that can help you too. Okay, don't only focus on the times that you've supported, focus on your times that you have resisted as well. All right, because the game is up and down. Blake, I'll go ahead and add it into the list. If we are able to get to it tonight, then absolutely, my dude. Okay, so let me just go ahead and make sure that I do have it in here for you, okay? Yeah, I'll put this one right here. All right, so let's go ahead and continue right on in here, okay, you guys? So now let's start to load up our tools, and now I want to also... actually, hold on. 1, 2, 3... Okay, so we have that 1 test, 2 test... this candle here, see how this candle is still outside of the trend? This one right over here, that automatically connects this test. So this is 1. Okay, so we would need a candle closure. We would need a candle closure below it, right? So these types of things I definitely don't consider as tests, as they're likely just emotional runs or psychological runs. right? So more like this one here. You want to be, it has to be clearly obvious, right? Like this, minimum, right? So 1, 2, you have 3, and then this was test number 4 with a failure, right? So now it looks like we could be loading in a macro perspective for a bounce to the upside in true test number 5. Okay, so but remember that this is a weekly, and here is the other thing. Okay, so in 15 hours, this weekly candle will close. Okay, so I would still favor the bulls if it closed where it is at 88 cents. Right, so I mean, it would be way better if it did close around the range of about 99 to about 111. Not only because it's going to favor the upside based on weekly closure, but also because there's this like, if enough sentiment, if enough retail believes in the psychological aspect of closing above $1, then there is that component to kind of consider as well. I find it to be a little bit of bullshit, but I don't always trust it. I'm just putting it out there, okay, that there is that possibility as well. Okay, so let's load up some tools over here and see what we have in line for this. Yeah, very, very obvious that it would be this setup. So what I would like to share is that since we're in such a high time frame here, this is a macro time frame, we're already critically, expanded here, and we're already starting to potentially start to make that upside pivot. What this means is that as you start reverting back in time, you'll start to notice that this will start to pivot to the upside, and this would already likely be in a contraction phase as you go back, right? So let's go to the 5-day, and likely we could see that setup sort of happening, right? So let's go further back. And here we go. So we're starting to get that upside pivot right on the 3-day. Let's go to the bi-daily. Bi-daily, we have that upside pivot starting to contract, right? So let's go to the daily. Daily with that upside pivot, huge contraction, but it's back to maximum volatility. And this maximum volatility is due to this huge short, right? So I like the fact that the daily has both of the moving averages within the bullish control zone of the stochastics oscillator. That's good, right? But there's a little bit of weakness coming in, and I mean it's part of the flow, though. Okay, so it's just it has to. I mean, things like this have to happen, guys. There's no avoiding it, but it could be like something like this, right? So let's continue on, and there could be pullbacks coming in. Okay, so. All right, so 8-hour time frame pullback being this would be the target here. Okay, 76.10 because of this gap here on the 8-hour. So very likely to find a support touch from that area. So just like this, right? So also we can continue back. Let's continue, right, and see. Let me pull up the RSI as well. And see what we have. Okay, so yeah, that 14-day simple located right below that RSI could be indicative of this target here. But since it is kind of a distance on the 8-hour, definitely don't overtrust that, right? As this could actually capitulate even further, and the target would be this medium here. Just like this right here to 67.08 in respects to this area here. So this is the chop zone, right? Before a breakout. So sometimes this is huge, right? But sometimes this could be considered as a liquidity grab or a liquidity trap, right? So then this thing just grabs a whole bunch of liquidity, comes right back down into that area and starts to consolidate again. I hope that's not the case here, but there is a massive setup happening in the upper time frames, which would be only appropriate for this stock to start reaccumulating again, hopefully within this area here before another bounce, right? So 4-hour time frame, let's see. Okay, 4-hour time frame is already below, but it's below the 14-day simple, but it's losing bear strength. So this is indicative of finding a support soon. Okay, so that's not looking bad. So okay, you guys, so basically what I'm looking at here is another day of reaccumulation. Let me see. Today is Wednesday for me, right? So here in the Pacific time. So I would, man. Okay, so yeah, I would see probably about 2 days of downside and consolidation here before a potential floor found again, likely within this area, and then this can actually make a pretty nice move to the upside. But it's not quite ready for it just yet. Okay, so we need more liquidity. We need more volume is essentially what it's saying, right? More buying pressure. And then if the algo does note that or does notice that, then the algo may favor the bulls here and then just push everything to the upside, which could be looking pretty good. All right, so we're a little early, right? So definitely look into these targets here. 67 to about 76.51 before consolidation and a continuation to the upside. Okay, you guys, so that is going to do it for ticker symbol SECO. So now I want to move on to the next ticker, and somebody asked me here in the chat regarding ticker symbol SI. Is that S? Guys, let me know. Please let me know what you're talking about. SI as in silver? Is that the silver futures? Is that what we're looking at? Chat, dive in. I don't know who it was that asked me for it, but I definitely have it up on the chart. So please let me know if we can actually take a look at that, right? So BRDS is definitely in the schedule, and it's after SI. Silvergate, I think you said, or was it? Isn't that, is it SI? Is that the ticker? I mean, let's see. Okay. Silvergate, okay. So, guys, I have to ask this, right, because of I have covered silver too. So, all right. So now, yeah, okay. So cool. Yeah, let's take a look at this. All right, man, this is this is strikingly similar to COSM. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys. So yeah, let me just get a sip of water right here, real quick. Oh, Destiny, you asked for Silvergate. Okay, so. Can actually, if you guys are long Silvergate or looking to get long, can you tell me why? Is there a catalyst coming out or something? Or I know that there is the whole the stimulus on banks so they don't fail, right? So what else? What do I need to know on this that's coming up? Give me a date. And I would love to see how the price action is kind of leading up to that. Because I know they had a huge bailout recently, right? So, and I'm not sure if that was a bank, a bank wide thing, or if it was just one, like SIVBQ, right? So I'm not sure if it was just them, or did they even get a bailout? I'm not following that whole. I'm not following the bank stocks right now, really, you guys. The only reason I'm following it is based on request. So any small bank is a risky play right now. No, dude, Mr. Levitz, you couldn't be more right in your life, bro. That is absolutely true. These small banks do have. I mean, they're kind of like. They've kind of diminished into the OTC world, into tiny plays, right? So, Destiny saying I held 3,000 at $6. Someone told me we will be the big short down to $1. Wait a second. So you wait. You're still holding? Are you still holding right now? 3,000 shares at you're long 3,000 at $6? Damn. I hope Destiny, tell me the truth right now. Speak to me, because that would be terrible. Let me open up the window, guys. It's getting hot as hell in here. Get the damn window open. Sometimes I open it before, but not always, because it gets too cold here sometimes, right? But right now it's feeling like it's because the heater is on in the house right now. It's just getting ridiculous. So Mark Roach saying they are liquidating the bank assets. Wow. Yeah, Destiny. Let's see. If so, I want to hedge it. Okay. So there's options chain on this, of course. You want to sell a call. Okay, so you're betting the downside. And, okay, I see. All right, so, I mean, volatility play could be in line here. And if you are looking at a potential downside, this could be considered. I mean, look at the price action right over here, right? It's looking like kind of like a, it's looking kind of like a dead cat bounce in a sense, right? I mean, it's maintaining a critical support. So yeah, let's dive in a little. Let me get my headphones back on. There we go. All right, so yeah, let me first of all, let me just look at where it's even sitting in support, right? So historically speaking, I want to see if there's, wow. So for sure, this is just these are historic lows. The lowest ever was back here in 2020. That was about $7. Man, you know what's curious here is that this clearly showed a downside. This already was telling us that something was going to happen. That's kind of shitty. that's really shitty. This is the anxiety right here, you guys. This right here, the broadening ascending wedge, this is a clear indication of weakness for the bulls. And I mean, we can actually just extend this drawing just like around here, right? So, man, it actually faked out on that 4, pretending that it was actually going to invalidate, right? So, test 1, 2, and 3, huge capitulation, 4 fake out, and then it actually realized the downside, right? So this is it. This is massive. This is massive fuckery, if anything, right? So, wow. Okay, so somebody knew something here. So you know, that's mad speculation here, you guys. I'm just saying, like the charts were already giving massive weakness here. Okay, so. Wow. All right. So yeah, let's just take a look at what the potentials are within this. Okay. So, I'm not even sure if I said the ticker right. Silvergate, SI. Okay. So let's go to the 30-minute because there is still some downside to face here in the 12-hour time frame here. Also, the RSI 12-hour is still suggesting downside too. So yeah, if you want to sell some calls, that would be. Let me see if we have a support. Well, I mean, that language that I just spoke, you guys, that's short. Okay, that's short language. Like I was looking for support up here, meaning that I said it without thinking because I'm short biased too, right? So meaning the short bias support would be located at about 155. And it would be a support range of about 155 to about 170 at the very top, right? So having to do with this grab here and this liquidity grab. So that would be your break and the best case scenario support for downside, right? So let's actually, yeah, that's not bad. Let me see the 30-minute and see what it's got for us. Okay, so 30-minute critical contraction with a downside pivot. And failing the 14-day simple on the 30-minute. Okay, that's already kind of favoring that downside. Bi-hourly downside too. This little pivot kind of worries me, but it could be indicative of just some consolidation. But I'm kind of trusting the 14-day simple. I'm sorry, the RSI signal here. Okay, so 8-hour time frame crossing below the 14-day simple as well. Okay, and also this candle hasn't even returned anything from which it has lost. So that's already a good sign for the shorts. Okay, so daily time frame finding a potential support soon. Okay, but remember that's daily. Similar actually resistance on the buy daily. Okay, let me see the 3-day. Yes, Destiny. We'll definitely go over it. It is a requirement actually. Not to go short on stocks, but it is a requirement for you to understand and know the short bias, as I will be teaching both sides of the game, because you can't be going into a freaking basketball court not knowing defense or not knowing offense if you only do defense, right? So as you will likely lose, right? So I'm just saying, okay? So the downside here is actually very short-lived, okay? Before actually this thing can just start to consolidate. And it would be dangerous to hold too long, right? Because there is this happening. Massively oversold stochastics. Huge expansion here. This is kind of a remedy for an upside brewing for the next weeks, right? Maybe even into the end of next week or the following week at very minimum. And then also the buy daily is already pivoted towards the upside with contraction here. Okay, if you are gonna sell a call, then I know that the $1 mark is kind of like where you want to go to, right? But I would honestly favor the $1.13 mark as a smarter trader would actually liquidate before the expected target. So anywhere between 118 to about 113, and this play could not last too long. Okay, this short play could actually just be the duration of maybe 1 to 2 days max. Okay, so be careful with that. But yes, I do see downside here for Silvergate. All right, so and actually, let me see if we did have entry. No, everything is facing to resistance here. Okay, so yeah, betting against this would be almost immediately. Okay, so in fact, the preparation for your calls to sell should have been today, meaning this morning. But that doesn't mean that there still isn't room. But what I do have to say is that if you see this thing actually run all the way to like 126, then that extension is already too far, and there could already be a risk to the upside. Okay, so your resistance touches are going to be 126 and about 120. Okay, and then your next resistance, of course, is where I'm telling you about 112 to 113. This would be, oh, look at that hourly gap right there. If it does face that would be essentially that target I was talking to you about. Okay, so there you go. Very, very tight target, 112 to 114. All right, so keep in mind the play, all right, and be aggressive. You have to be sharp, and you have to be on your toes when doing things like this, okay, because you can face an immense amount of losses with options too, okay, so all right. But you don't want to lose the shares. Well, that's not up to you, right? So that's going to be essentially up to the buyer if they want to exercise the shares at that premium. So if they exercise the shares at this premium, that means that they do have a belief that this stock is going to run to the upside based on them acquiring the contract's 100 shares or per contract, right? So that's a gamble for you. Okay, so that's there's no historical value and no statistical value to prove whether the person is going to want to exercise it or not. What I can say is that oftentimes options are not exercised. Okay, they're only used for their extrinsic and intrinsic value, and that's it. As soon as you get the extrinsic and extrinsic gain, you pull out, and that's it. You have your calls back. Right, so just so you're kind of clear on that, right? Most of the times, I'm talking 80 to 90% of the times, people do not exercise unless it's really, really something powerful, right? So, all right, Mr. Levitt saying I might buy SI shares if it drops to 113. Yeah, 112 to 114 is that essential potential floor, right? So, wait. What do you mean get out at 140? You're betting the downside here. So I'm telling you to get out at 114 or 112, around there. If you're selling a call, you're betting the downside, right? So in your position, right, kind of betting against Silvergate would be an exit target here. And I mean, if you yourself long this, getting long this ticker probably around 112 or 114 would be a pretty good play. In the event where that does happen, I would do 112 to 113, get long, exit 127, because the 129 is your resistance. I think Destiny talking about shares now. Yeah. So 112 to 114 would be long, and exit position at about 129. So you're looking at this gain here. Look, check this out. So if you did 114 at the top side of our support here for a long position, you're looking at a 13.3% move to the upside, or a 13% move to the upside. That is a good play for a short-term play, like a day trade, right? So let's see. I sold my SI at $1.95 for a very small profit. Not bad, dude. That could have been the best thing you could have done. You sold pretty much at the top, bro. That's great. That's definitely good. All right, so that is going to do it for ticker symbol SI. All right, so let's go ahead and now, hold on just a sec, you guys. What's going on here? Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's go ahead and continue on to the next one. That's going to be BRDS. Lots of people talking about this ticker as well, right? So I'm more than happy to cover it. So let's just see what it has in line for us, right? So let me make a note that we're officially starting this ticker. And see, very similar to the other tickers that we've been looking at, as there is a potential broadening descending wedge on this one as well, except that I think this would be a larger time frame outlook, right? So as we don't want too much grain in the picture here, right? So something like this is essentially what I'm looking at, right? Just like this. Land, yeah, we want to land those, right? So these two are the ones that I'm landing for now, but I want to see if I do. There we go. This actually makes more sense. I'll tell you why. All right, so you have support, right? Support, and you have resistance. Okay, so and perfect resistance here as well. So that's kind of like how just to show you again another iteration of oh, yeah, it's live for you right now, Destiny? Interesting, right? So very curious that you're at 147 right now. That's the close. That's the market close from yesterday. Okay, so this is essentially the area where I would start selling my calls, right at around this area here. So 147 to the top side of about 148. I would have already bet against the direction to the upside here. So in my position, I would get short now. And, some position, right? I scale in, right? So my scale in right here would probably be around, I don't know, 14%, 15% portfolio. And then, depending on how aggressive I am with the trade, I would include maybe another 10% at the range of about 152 to about 154, right? So just to kind of improve the cost basis a little bit, but the downside is more imminent than not. So yeah, keep at it. All right. So yeah, you guys, so that's how I'm looking at the resistance touches, right? So these are critical supports. What we're currently doing right now is the true breakout, right? So you have test number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have that 4 retest of the support here, or the newly converted resistance into support, right? Not a problem, Destiny. I got you. All right, so this could very well be indicative of a continuation, more than likely to the upside, right? So now let's continue on that thesis, right? So if we are at that true breakout, is there the possibility of actually failing this critical support? Well, let's get the obvious things out of the way. The take profit target per the playbook rules is located right up here, right? So it's going to be at about 77.82. We should always know that. Just know your range, right? So now let's load up our tools and see what we have in line for us. Okay, so wow, holy goodness, this is very good. Buy daily critical expansion, upside pivot on the stochastics. Within the bullish control zone. I want to see what the ADX is doing right now. So if you look back through all my videos, guys, you'll see this right here, directional movement index, forever. Every single video I've ever pulled out live, you'll always see it there. So I just don't use it live so much. So now go ahead and notice this. We have an uptick in the trend strength right now. Okay, so it looks like the bulls are trying to take over the bears right now, right? So this, and we're at 20%. It was currently sitting, or before this, it was sitting at 10%. So it is increasing very, very, very much so. So now let me go to the daily. It could be actually too extended here. Yeah, the daily already kind of played that out. Okay, so this is suggesting a downside, but that doesn't mean that it would just capitulate from here. Okay, as there are several iterations to where it actually makes an up thrust like this, right? We have the upside here, then it comes back down and reloads and does another up thrust, and then another one, and eventually reaches a higher high, right? So it could be. I mean, this was a very good play from a couple days ago, right? So now it's pulling back, of course, because we made that breakout. We need to validate this area here. So within validating or consolidating, the stochastics can continue to the downside. right? And also, the bulls could be loading here. As you notice here, the bulls are seriously trying to take control here as the ADX is increasing in volatility, meaning that the bulls right now have the trend. Right now, we're sitting at 31%, so that's a bull trend, okay? And let's continue on the analysis here, as likely we're going to see some more downside. Yeah, so 8 hour approaching over. It's approaching oversold here. Okay, the trend is minimizing a little bit, but it's so much trend right now on the bulls too. The bulls will likely continue like this, right, until it actually gains the full control over the crossing below the red zone, right? So let's continue here. Okay, I want to pull up the RSI now as we're getting a little closer into the shorter time frame. Yeah, see, bulls trying to take control, still with an upside pivot and still contracting. Okay, so let me actually go back to the daily now, since actually the buy daily, since there is still an upside and there could be a reversion play here on the buy daily. So if there is a reversion, let's pull up that indicator, my reversion variant, right? So that's curious. So the reversion is suggesting 19 cents, which is very similar to where the target of support is on this on the broadening descending wedge. Okay, so that could be our floor. Okay, so the floor could be 19 cents. The thing is that if it does kind of continue to the downside, then it would likely find a support touch of about 15 cents to about 14 cents, of which then it would try to make breakout number 5, which is still a true breakout test, right? So that's also a potential too. Nicholas, hold on just a second. I'm going to read what you just said. Let me just finish off this one here. Okay, so yeah, let's continue validating that thesis though. So man, bulls gaining control there. Okay, so 15-minute. Yeah, let me get rid of some of these right here and see what we have. Okay, so actually that's fine. 30-minute, 15-minute immediate short-term upside. Similar situation with the 5-minute. Let's see, the 30-minute still continuing to the upside. Buy hourly, finding that support from the 14-day simple upside pivot. Contraction and upside pivot on the stochastics. Okay, that's not bad. And let me get rid of the visibility. I need to see price action too. Upside pivots with a little bit of resistance here. We're starting to correct and starting to increase volatility. Okay, so the upside is actually likely on the 6 hour too. So let me see where we're stopping, at what point we're stopping. Okay, the 8 hour is the resistance, so this thing could actually face an upside target to about 25 cents, right? 24.97 before it can actually pull back to test the current zone, 2019 to about 19 cents. This is all through the same day. And then let's see. Okay, so the pullback, guys, to 19 cents would likely be into tomorrow. Into the next trading day early, and then try to find the bounce, right? So in respects to the buy daily, the buy daily is where it's at, and it leading even into the 3-day. This is very powerful, huge upside here. Continuing volatility to the upside as well, and upside pivot on the 5-day. Okay, yeah. So the upside can be looked at, but it's going to be a short-term upside first. And then we have to pull back and validate this area and consolidate for a bit and then continue on to the upside. So upside I'm seeing after, okay? So not right now, not tomorrow. Of course, any of this can be invalidated by sentiment, right? Or the psychology can literally just take this thing and rip it to the upside at any moment. All right, so T-Wood, have a good night, brother. All right, so just know that there is an accumulation period here to be faced. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at for BRDS. Okay, you guys, so let me go ahead and refer to the chat real quick, as that was actually the last ticker for tonight, guys. So Nicholas Hong saying, what do you think about BBBY price action for this month? BBBY swap expired. Volume will come through next week. And they got some, okay, what? They did? And it was behind the scenes. Oh, my goodness. So, Nicholas, let's see. Current BBBY setup looks like AMC January 21 before the squeeze. I would love to hear your opinion. January 2021 actually had no setup. There was no volatility it was actually explosive. And the only reason why it exploded, and it actually wasn't a squeeze. So if you're familiar with how things kind of move in the options chain, then you would have noticed that I'm sorry, there was an expiration. It was a critical expiration on that day. I think it was a Friday, right? So options expired in the money. So it actually created a gamma ramp, right? So that gamma ramp was essentially the reason why price continued to the upside, because the options expired in the money, thus including the gamma Greek of the option. So it applied into delta, so it doubled delta, and then delta and gamma together ripped it to the upside, right? So based on the closing of the of in the money, and then also closing and also running into the money and beyond it, right? So it was a gamma rip. That thing was actually a pretty interesting setup, right? So but I don't even remember there being a huge capitulation like this on AMC based on that January run up, right? So January AMC was let me see, it was right over here. I think this was the January run up, yeah. So the capitulation was actually gradual here, right? So you're looking at impulsive downside here, which means that there could be an impulsive upside. So if there is an impulsive upside followed by an impulsive downside, then that would be indicative of a dead cat bounce, as BBBY has proven to be the case several times. But yeah, in my personal experience, it is looking like the volatility is slowing down. The candles are getting smaller, right? So yeah, there could be an upside here, but I don't think that upside is going to be a squeeze upside, right? So, but again, I could be very wrong, right? And look at this, the volatility on the daily is not even maxed out yet. We want 90% volatility, and we absolutely want the stochastic momentum to be pivoted towards the upside. Critical oversold, that's good, right? It is, and it's also historically low. Into the lows that it's actually faced forever. There's nothing really beyond this to actually this iteration here just before, right? 2%. But the impulsive upside could likely face resistance if it even did get to this target, which is massive, right? 55 cents could be a huge resistance zone, and then face kind of a U over here and test this area of about 37. Okay, so if it does get an impulsive upside, I would liquidate at 55 or below that. All right, so that is going to do it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming by. I really, really appreciate everybody coming through, right? All my donos, you guys mean so much to me. All right, moderators, Mark Roach, Sebastian Lim, Samantha H. I love you guys. I love you guys so, so much, okay? Really appreciate you coming by. And and also if you have any questions, guys, also please don't forget to just reach out to me, okay? Reach out to me on DM, email, whatever you want. Remember that I am offering there's still a couple seats left for the ArcMastersCourse, okay? So reach me out in the email in the description below, and we'll get you situated, get enrolled. Okay, you guys, so yes, thank you, Ned. Have a very good night, Beso, Amy, always good to see you here. Mr. Levitz, thank you so much, all right, you guys? So with that said, I wish everybody very well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.